All right, say hello, everyone.
Hello.
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 All right, we are starting. Oh, my mic is a little too high. I'm using a different microphone since I am in a different location. We are starting Words of Radiance, which is the second book in the Stormlight Archive series, which I can't believe we're already at the second book and there's only 3 books out. So, like, we're gonna have to find something to occupy ourselves
Wait, what?
after.
Well, there's four.
There's 3. Oh, there's
There's
4? Oh,
there's
okay.
five.
Might
There's
be.
5 books out. There's
There's
5
five.
books
Oh.
out.
Yeah, so the
book.
fifth one is the new one.
Yeah, the
Oh,
fifth
yeah,
one's the
but
new
that
one.
came out, like, very recently, though,
It
There's
came
right?
also
out
the
like last
novellas.
November-ish. And there's 2 novellas, yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay,
have
so we're
Oathbringer,
gonna have
Rhythm
some
of
content
War,
for at least a
and
year.
Winds of Truth.
Yes. All right. Never mind. I take that back. We have a lot of Brando Sando Stormlight Archive content. Because I was wondering, I'm like, what are we gonna do once we like catch up? This is gonna be like Attack on Titan all
To
over
to be
again.
fair, there's so many books. So if we really wanted to just focus on Sanderson, we
Nah, I
have a
feel
lot
like
of
we
books.
need a break. We need a Sando break after Mistborn straight to Stormlight. I'm okay reading something.
Hey man,
like,
I
different.
read Warbreaker on my own.
Yeah. But all right, so let's talk about where we are here. So it seems like this book takes place. Well, there's a prologue, which is a flashback, and then it takes place literally right after the first book. So I
Mhm.
imagine how many years did people have to wait for this book? Did we look that up last time?
I think it
Let
was
me
a
see.
it was a couple
It wasn't
years, I
that
think.
long, I
Let's
think.
see.
I
This
don't think
one
it
is
was that long.
copyright 2014. Let me look at the last one.
Wasn't it like 2-3 years, something like that?
2010 to
Yeah.
2014, so 4 years.
Oh,
4
4
years. All right,
years.
not
Copyright
bad.
2010. Yep.
Not terrible. That's like a people releasing an album in the same amount of time.
Yeah.
But
It's pretty
but for like an anime
It's
season,
not for a
4
book
years
of
is a
this
long time.
size. so-
Yeah, yeah. For a book of this size, 4 years is actually very surprising.
And it's funny because it's not even because it took him 4 years to write
Yeah.
this book. He would probably release like a book a year. Just it was
Yeah.
different books.
Yeah, he was already like I don't know how this guy's constantly just writing other books concurrently.
But
That's like
honestly,
insane.
if I was I mean I am a big fan of Sanderson, but like most authors, I feel like it's 4 years to write one book, and that's the only release you get. This dude is just like hopping between worlds when he every
Yeah.
year.
He's like, oh, this one's
In,
almost done baking. I'm gonna release this one now.
Yeah.
in the
He
front acknowledgments of this book, it says it took him 18 months to write Words of
Wow.
Radiance.
Dang, that's very impressive.
That's crazy to me. This dude just be churning out. He must love writing. You know what I mean? Like
You
he's
have
like
to.
one of the few authors I would say probably just loves the act of writing. Because like most authors, I feel like they like thinking of stories and the writing comes second. I feel like this dude, the writing comes first and the stories come second. But both are good.
Yes.
And he definitely likes world building, that's for sure.
Yeah, the world is still expanding in our eyes.
Yep. I told you.
Yeah, we haven't even like looking at the map again. I'm like, we haven't even touched like half of these other countries yet. Like we've met people from them, but like maybe the
Yeah.
interludes took place in a geographically
Yeah.
different space. But everything else, I'm like, dang, like when are we ever gonna see the mountains or Shinovar or wherever?
Mhm.
It certainly
Although I
puts them
think that
to like
that's like. Go ahead, Andre.
no, go ahead and run.
I would say I feel like is a good way to do it, that like in the interludes we usually are in a different country and seeing a different
Mhm.
culture, because like when you have a plot line, like you're probably not going to get to the whole world, because what you're doing only has to do with a narrow vein of it. So having all those interludes like of the other places, that's basically like it's stuff that's also plot relevant, but is I feel like mostly just for us to
Yeah.
get to know like the other places of the world. So I think that is like a good way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say like I didn't know how big the Pure Lake was until I
Yeah.
saw the map. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
Like,
it's
this is a
not
great lake.
it's not like a little like Florida lake. It's like
Who knew we were
I
in
don't think
Michigan?
it's not even like that small. I think it's might be bigger than one of the Great Lakes, right?
I think
So you
so.
can't really see
There's no
it.
scale on this map, it's a
Yeah,
big
there's no
map,
scale.
so
It's looking more
But
like the Mediterranean Sea kind of a
yeah.
vibe.
yeah.
But
But yeah, no, big world. I would want him to have more characters that are not based on Alucard, though. Like Ren was saying, I think like the interludes, they could just be fully fleshed characters, but maybe that's what he's planning to do in the second half of the
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
series.
hoping we like meet some of the or the protagonists meet some of the interlude mentioned characters,
I'm assuming at some point
other than
they
Mr.
would,
Seth.
but like at some point in the 10 books. I just don't know when in the 10 books.
But
Ten,
we
Exactly.
10
do
books. This
have
guy will be like on his like sick bed writing
I'm
these.
telling you, this guy has found the secret to immortality, and that's why these books are all in his schedule.
Oh my god! Yeah, imagine planning
he
out like
not that
literally
old.
is.
what's your 5-year plan, and Brandon Sanderson just chuckles. He's like 5 years, more like 25 years.
Yeah, I don't think he's that old. He's 50.
Yeah, but he's 50, but that's like if with the amount of books he has planned, that's pretty old. You
He's
know what
probably
I
gonna need a
mean?
lot of help writing, like just like
Yeah, he probably has a lot of help, like
Like
just people
Stormlight
writing his.
6 is scheduled for 2031. That's 6 years from now.
yeah. So shit. Yeah.
Well,
And
George
maybe
R. R.
someone
Martin
will
is
have to
76,
continue his
and people
series
still
after he
think that
dies.
Winds of Winter is coming.
Oh, I like read some discourse about that because I didn't know anything about it, but it sounds like he has no interest in finishing that.
Oh
Of
yeah,
course not.
100%.
100%.
Rip.
100% has no
Unlike
interest in
Brando
finishing it.
Sando, this guy has too many ideas and not
Yo,
enough time to write.
this man is like that Alexander Hamilton saw. He's writing like he's running out of time, bro.
Except for
Meanwhile,
he
the other guy
believes
is
that he'll
not.
live forever.
Maybe he knows he'll still live forever, but then he'll just continue delivering us books. That's a win-win.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
But all
He's
right,
already
back to part one.
he's already uploaded his consciousness to the cloud, and he's ready.
He's already left very detailed notes for his successor, which
Oh,
I
yeah,
would be
Oh
he's
yeah, we
thankful
already-
should
for.
watch Black
He's
Mirror.
got an AI clone. Oh yeah, the new stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently Bellatrix is canon in Black Mirror. Let's go. Now I have to watch Black Mirror.
That's funny.
It was in one of the episodes. I just
Oh
saw the
really?
Wow.
Yeah,
I
because
just downloaded.
the creator was like, "Oh, I guess Bellatrix is in Black Mirror now."
Wow.
Good for
what
him.
an honor.
Excuse me, you mean Balatro?
But what is that? Is that how it's called?
Apparently, it's actually supposed to be pronounced that, but no one ever pronounces it like
Oh,
that.
I was like, maybe that's just my American accent.
No. That's like most people pronounce it Balatro. But apparently, the creator has come out and said it is technically Balatro, but you can say whatever you want. I don't
guess
care.
because we're used to putting the emphasis on the second to last syllable.
Yeah.
That's like usually the natural placement. So it's when it's not, at least for American dictation. But Balatro, I wonder like where I need to know the etymology of this word now, like where it comes from. Then I would understand the Balatro pronunciation. But anyways, back to words we can't pronounce. So chapter 1's called Santid, which I guess is hopefully has one pronunciation. But we're learning more about this other plane of existence, the Shadesmar, which Shalon had a run-in with last book. And they're on a boat, her and Jasna, to the Shattered Plains because that's where they're going. Shalon's like kind of betrothed in theory, betrothed. And then Jasna goes into more of the info dumping, which is good because we kind of needed this in the last book. Because last book we got a bunch of Sanderlanche revelations, and then then he kind of just ends it, and we're like, oh no, but like, what is all this? So Shadesmar, Shadesmar is the cognitive realm. So everything there is an idea, and then he mentions that everything has 3
Persona?
components. Yeah, I actually said that. I said the soul, the body, the mind, and then I wrote, so spread art personas of an idea, you could say. LOL. But the deep lore is that humankind, I guess, broke some oath with the Spren, which is the quote unquote ancient betrayal they talk about.
Of course we did.
Yeah, that would be us, honestly. I mean, remember when Dalinar has that flashback, and as soon as the Knights Radiant like let go of their shards, everyone's like killing each other over it. Like that was so expected.
Yeah.
So expected.
We put tariffs
Immediately.
on the Spren. Of course we did.
Oh,
Of course we
dang.
did.
And then what else is good? Actually, a lot happened in 21, so I'm trying to skip to like the next biggest thing, I guess. So we switch back to Dalinar and Kaladin. Oh yeah, them getting the tattoos. So that was actually really like wholesome. That's
Yeah.
so like group
Grow
mentality,
tattoos.
teamwork. Yeah. Except Kaladin can't keep his, and I think this is what Andrea didn't want to allude to in the last book when I was like, oh, I wonder if his tattoo is just like a figment of his own oppression, like self oppression, basically. And it kind of seems like that because we know that, or I guess not that we know, but the Stormlight is like, I guess, absorbing or like healing the tattoo he keeps trying to get on top of the slave brand. But it's also weird that his slave brand doesn't heal from his Stormlight powers, right? So I guess there's still more to come.
Would it heal though? Like that was a wound that he got and healed before having access to this power.
That's what I was
would it
also
Yeah,
heal
I'm not
old
sure.
things? Because it is technically already healed. It is no longer a wound.
That's true.
I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like maybe he could do it if he tried really
if
hard.
you tried,
but
if you like concentrated really hard.
yeah.
Because I don't know if it heals scars. Because
Yeah.
scars
Okay.
already like healed tissue.
But I guess is it
Um,
possible for him to like consciously keep the tattoo if he tried to make his
'Cause-
Stormlight not heal it?
I was thinking of it like in this K-drama I watched recently. There's a guy who could heal wounds, but if the wound is like left to scar, like kind of like if you have a bullet stuck in your body, it won't heal that scarred flesh anymore. It's
Okay.
only like if you have a clean wound and then it'll heal itself up. So that's what I was thinking, but I don't know if that's like we have no idea if that's how
I
it
guess we'll
works.
see what happens. I mean, and he could just be keeping the slave brand. Also, I was trying to look for the slave brand on like the photo, I guess, of him on the cover, and his freaking bangs cover it because, of course.
Oh yeah.
So I was
But
like,
there is
is that Kaladin? I don't know. Maybe he
there is
heals his brand.
finally a drawing of it in one of the pages, which was
Yes.
nice.
Yep. That was cool.
They
And
show
then
the
it goes
actual
through the
glyphs.
glyphs.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
how they combined to make the
what they were saying.
Bridge 4 tattoo, and I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. That looks a lot nicer than like I was imagining it. Like it looks
Looks more
cooler.
artistic. Yeah.
To
I'm
be
like,
honest, I
okay,
wish they
maybe
had
I
a
would get that
sketch of
beforehand.
Shadesmar too. Because I had
Yeah.
really trouble like
Mm.
visualizing. I mean, I know we go in the later chapters, but the beads, especially when Jasna, like in the prologue,
Yeah.
falls into Shadesmar, I'm like,
You want to know
it's
what I keep imagining of Shadesmar? Did you guys watch Big Hero 6?
Yes.
Mhm.
You guys
yeah, but
remember
a
those
long time ago.
those little black robots that like the guy steals from Hero? That's what I keep imagining Shadesmar's made out of. I know they're not beads technically, but
I just think of like really tiny marbles, and you're just like getting like
Swallowed by, I mean,
suffocated
like
by them.
stuck
Yeah.
by then. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that too. And then like, I
Like a
mean, we
ball
can talk
pit.
about
Yeah, like a ball pit, basically.
yeah, it's
Small
a ball
balls.
pit exactly, and there's a ball pit everywhere. But then they were like later on they described like uh
The land.
places, land, and places where you can
Mm.
like stand. And I'm like, whoa,
I just
it's
kind
like
of imagine
obsidian.
like rocks in an ocean, basically, where there's like
yeah,
flat land surrounded by ocean. I mean, that's just my interpretation,
But it's made of beads.
but it's made of beads.
yeah, everybody just made beats, yeah.
Okay, back to Jasna then. So Shalon names her little friend pattern, which is very cute. But also like he just
That was
talks
very cute.
sometimes. And I'm like, I imagine him with like a deep voice for some reason. Or like a very like wise, like stoic deep voice. Even though he's like a cute little
Mm.
guy.
In
Yeah, she's like,
the
oh, he's kind of dumb.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
kind of dope. He's kind of
he's,
dopey.
But then
he's
he like
very dope.
talks really
He's a
professional.
He
toddler.
learns. He's learning. Yeah. That's cute.
But in the audiobook, he has like the person gives him his very him very lies, like a very
Oh, like a creepy or like a I don't even. No, I guess not creepy.
Vocal fry.
Vocal fry.
vocal fry, yeah, vocal
She
fry
does
kind of
explain that
like.
it sounds like a buzzing
Vibrations.
sound when he
Yeah.
speaks, so it has that like
But that's how I always read whatever he's saying now.
Hmm. I just think that he's talking in some like deep voice, but we do learn that he's good at mimicry though, which was I guess scary but also cool. So I'm sure that's gonna come in handy again. Jasna talks about how her and Shalon are different orders of, I guess, Knights Radiant or whatever. I forget what their powers are called. So they don't have the exact two powers, but also we're like well, I said, oh, maybe Shallan does have access to a shard blade because of the 10 heartbeats thing mentioned in the last book, and somewhat alluded to again here. Jasna has her own spren called Ivory, which is cute. So her, I don't know, I guess it's like similar.
Yeah.
And then the geometry head spren, our boy group, the cryptics, are called Lie spren.
Yeah.
The Geo boy band.
Yeah, and the Lie spren have
The
beef with the
Cryptics,
Honor
great
spren.
band name.
So, oh yeah, so the Lie spren are like the light eyes of the cognitive realm, and then the Honor spren have beef with them.
Yeah, they beefing.
Interesting.
Yeah, they got spread politics.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll learn more about that. This is gonna be the politics season, just like Attack on Titan. JK. Well, actually, it is though. Now that I think about
It
going
is
back to Dalinar. Yeah. Speaking of, Dalinar has another vision, and then someone or something, or perhaps even himself, writes that 62 days, and then he insinuates that means 62 days until the Everstorm is coming. So that's not a lot of time for the end of the world. And then they talk about Sadius's wife runs the best spy network in the war camp because, of course, I'm like, of course she's a conniving, bitch, just like Sadius himself. And I wrote he's giving real alpha male vibes because he's like, it's my God-given right and purpose to wage war. I'm like, all right, guy, chill out.
Yeah. All my homies hate Stadium.
Bro.
Yeah, but very good foil to Dalinar, I will say. But now we go to chapter 6, Navani's journal. Pre-word mentions Parshendi spies hiding amongst Parshmen, which is what Jasna had mentioned previously. That aligns with Jasna's notes about them being Voidbringers. This is where she actually names the spread pattern. But I'm like, oh, it's like a pocket pet because he just like goes wherever, travels with her. Very cute.
It's my Tamagotchi.
Yeah, really. Except he doesn't have to eat. He has to learn. He has to become sentient. And the Night Watcher is some female's friend, they said. I don't know. I just wrote that down because I thought that was interesting.
He's the one that Dalinar went to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one they talk about.
Where you get a
The
boon
old
and a
magic.
curse.
Yeah. A curse and a gift.
boon
And then,
curse.
of course, Shalad is like, wow, my life is so perfect. I would not mind, spending my days freely, reading, writing, being betrothed to a prince, etc. And I'm like, wow, this is great for her. And then
As soon as you say shit like that is when shit goes wrong.
Okay, it didn't happen until 3 more chapters, I think, because he skipped around. But the interesting part here is that they mentioned the Words of Radiance book, so I'm like, oh, this is another book in a book. So Brando Sando being meta again.
For the Light Weaver Order.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, are
learning.
all of the book titles for the different orders?
Yeah, I mean, not to jump too far ahead, but like Rhythm of War, I'm like, okay, now I know where that comes from. And what were the other book titles?
Oh yeah.
Isn't
there's Oathbringer, so that's the sword.
That's a sword.
The sword. Okay.
Yeah.
Dalinar's former
sword. And did he name it Oathbringer, or that's like you could just name it whatever kind of? It sounded like, right? If you choose to.
Inherited, like each shard blade has its own history that's been passed down. So I don't think
I think
you can make names, though.
Yeah, they make a point that Adelin's sword doesn't have a name because he didn't want to name it because he's like, oh, the like original guy who had this probably named it something, so I shouldn't also give it a name. So like maybe they're not all
based on vibes. You can name it.
Yeah.
Because it would be like, imagine you won the blade off someone, you'd probably want to name it something original to yourself because they're like, you don't want to keep their history. I'm assuming that's knowing the arrogance of all of the
Alethi.
That's some shit they would do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
Good for
in
Adelaide.
That case, I don't know. I don't know the Oathbringer history then.
Mm-hmm. I guess we'll find out in that book.
Probably find out in Oathbringer.
Yeah. But also might be, it did happen in the next chapter. So Navani's forward of this one was like, wow, I literally wrote, this makes it sound like Jasta's going to die in this chapter, LOL. And then next bullet, yep, that's exactly what's happening.
But did she actually?
Maybe. We don't know, actually. But it was very sad. And I was like, bro, we are literally 7 chapters into the second book. And I thought Jasna was like a great mentor / older sister role model for Shallan.
Yeah. I'm so sad. She was like one of my favorite characters. I really
Yeah,
like
same.
Jasna, so I was like, God damn it. You can't love anyone. But yeah, they do make a point of Shala makes a point of saying that like when she goes back out into the hallway, she expects to run into Jasna's body and doesn't. And she thinks that, the pirates took it somewhere. So,
There was a lot of blood loss.
Anytime you can't confirm a body, you know that shit's somewhere and probably alive.
Hopefully.
Or like, she's in the cognitive realm.
That's what I'm thinking. Is she went to the cognitive realm like somehow
She
She soul
permanently or
cast
something?
her body into
She
something
astral
else.
projected into Shadesmar.
Yeah.
And her soul lives there. But actually, I was just as upset about all of the books and knowledge being lost too, because I was like, bro, that's like her life's work. But then we kind of have some resolution with that later, and also the notes and sketches. It's interesting. It says like, oh, like I dove to like the bottom of the ocean to grab this. So it sounds like they're being found. All right, but anyway, chapter 8. We're at 60 days left. That was the only note I had for that chapter. Syl is becoming more corporeal, and the other Bridgman recruits are opening up, which is good. Kaladin is doing a great job. And then chapter 10 was interesting. Red Carpet Once for White. By the way, great title. Great chapter title. And this was a flashback scene with Shallan at 11, and it made it look like she possibly killed some people, possibly by accident, possibly being manipulated, including her own mother with a shard blade. And I was like, question mark, question mark, question mark. So interesting, and it sounds like we are getting a lot more deeper into this. We keep getting some more flashbacks too, which is good. So I think similar to how we got a lot of Kaladin flashbacks that led up to him seeing Tien, like I guess die. Spoiler alert. We're gonna have a lot of flashbacks like with Shallan's past, which is good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this
I
is her
appreciate
book.
it. So
Yeah.
that's good. I'm glad he's like following like I guess the same structure in a way.
Yeah, I find Shallan's flashbacks overall more interesting than
So far,
Kaladin's.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
Kaladin was him just being whiny about doing house chores.
Yeah.
I mean, the doctor stuff
There's a
with his
little bit
dad
more
was
going
boring,
on.
but yeah.
Yeah.
But this one is like intense family drama.
And murder mystery, like
Yeah.
ooh. I mean, well, in like the Kaladin's flashbacks, I think the biggest twist is that what was the name of his dad again?
Liren.
Lyra.
Liren actually stole the spheres
Yeah.
from that guy. That's
I don't know.
never shown.
I like Tien collecting his rocks.
That was cute, yeah.
But overall, I find Shallan's backstory more interesting.
So she wakes back up and the Santhan saves her. Oh yeah, so she successfully soul casts the boat into water, which is a great idea, by the way. That's like the last resort. I wouldn't be able to think of anything else. Jasna's books did survive in a waterproof chest, very convenient. And I was wondering though how it just didn't sink entirely. So I'm wondering if the Santhid also like grabbed it and like hauled it to shore. That was my question.
Yeah,
but
it seems something,
The Santhan seems more intelligent than other crustacean.
Didn't they say giant squids are very intelligent though?
Yeah, so maybe it did understand the importance of the trunk.
Interesting to note that the Lie's friend cast shadows in the wrong direction, which we've seen happen to a few people so far, but the points are not exactly connecting just yet.
Doesn't that happen to that? What's his name? It's up to the name.
That crazy guy, right?
Yeah.
With the tattoos.
Yeah.
Oh, pistol with the posture check. Thank you. Everyone stretch your back and lean into your chair. Oh yeah, also publicly thank you Beetlejuice for the resub.
Oh yeah.
Back to the note. Yeah, so well, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, the guy that has a shadow in the wrong direction, and then also that other flashback with Jasna in the beginning where she noticed her shadow was starting to go into the wrong direction too. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's like if something takes over you, you start like becoming it, or I don't know.
I assume that it's because she like also has a relationship with one of those types of spren. Like that's the day that she first sees the her shadow friend. So I think that
True.
like they have a connection and is making
Interesting.
the shadows do
Honestly,
that.
that's pretty cool. Like, I don't think I'd be too much scared about it, rather than being like, oh, that's like really awesome. Except it does give you away if someone knows like what you are.
Yeah. And also like she did have to almost die before
Yes, that too. I
before
wouldn't want
like
to do that.
creating this bond. So
But going back to Shadesmar, I do like the parallel worlds thing going on between it. It reminds me of like in video games where they have like an alternate like reality version, and you have to like do stuff in one world to affect the thing in the other world. So it's like Silent Hill or like the copied city near, and there's like so many other examples of that. But I thought that was really interesting. And Shalon is taking command like Jasta. I'm like, I wrote her tutor would be proud. Sad smiley.
yeah. Rip. And that fucking guy is back.
Yeah, tick tick
This
Tiklov.
What?
Tvlakov.
Which guy was that? That's the leader of the
He's the
Muslims.
slaver
He's
that
the
sold
slaver that
Paladin.
brought Cal. That's
The
old
shadow
Oh,
Cal.
is it?
clan.
Oh my god, I
Yeah,
didn't
that's him.
realize.
Yeah.
I actually did not pick up on that because his
It's
name
like,
was just
wow.
like weird.
Full 360, we're back doing the same like this
Oh
book
yeah,
is
doing the
starting the
slave
same
thing.
way
The thing
as
we
the
complained
last book
about in the last book.
with
We're doing it
Shallan.
again. But no, it was definitely more interesting this time and a lot more going on. And she is depressed, but not as depressed.
She is pointedly not being depressed. She is like,
She's trying her
that
hardest.
that's not happening to me right now. I'll look at that later.
Yep. And then oh yeah, Kaladin is practicing his lashings, and he tries to stick a rock to the wall. And then they see that the lashing is actually tiny purple spren holding it to the wall in place. So interesting, because that was the
Oh.
question posed in the last book, where like, oh, they were saying like it's not power, it's just like spren. But like I guess the Stormlight power is calling me spren to hold it. But I guess that's supposed to show the relationship between the Shadesmar and the cognitive realm, and what is this, the material realm? I don't know what they called like the real life physical realm.
Yeah, I don't remember if it's
But we see Amaram again.
He's
Rip this guy.
back.
back.
Ew, I wrote he needs to have his comeuppance in this book, I swear to God. That's what I wrote. So hopefully something happens to him and that something is bad.
And he's
So
not just back, he's apparently boys with Dal.
yeah, I mean, Kaladin probably
Yeah.
should have saw that coming, and he is, surprisingly doing very well holding back on certain things.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
but now we get to the interludes before part 2, and we get to see Ishonai, which I guess looked at, or I made a point of that in the last book where the chapter was called her name, and we're like,
Oh,
like
yeah.
what the fuck does that mean? And now we find out it's the name of that shard bearer of
The
the
Parshendi.
the
Yeah.
Parshendi.
Listener, we find
Yes,
out, and this is what they call themselves.
themselves. Yeah, that's the non-slur name.
The
Yeah.
non-slur. Oh no.
But all right, we'll use the in book like words, I guess. And they don't seem particularly like, I don't know. I mean, they don't tell. I guess they don't tell other people that they're called listeners. Otherwise, like, why would they? Why would other people mistake them or come up with the name Parshendi? But now we know that the song that they're always singing is the rhythm of resolve, and that's like, I guess, well, that's one of the things they sing to themselves. So I guess the way that they describe it is like the rhythms that they have are almost like radio waves, and they just tune into them. So at any given moment, the radio wave is like the same for like every person, and that's how they're able to stay in tune and in time. So that's like really interesting. Like I don't know how Brando Sando came up with this idea. Like he must have had it in a dream or something. I don't know. It's just like crazy creative to me.
Yeah. But you like will attune to sort of like whatever you're feeling subconsciously unless you control it to like attune to something
It's like
specifically.
when Gasolina plays in the club, everyone has to throw ass.
Yeah,
And
everyone
your ass
follows
just
the
starts shaking
directions.
of its own accord unless you like really focus.
Exactly. Oh, so we're in their area on the Shattered Plains, and the reason why most things are rock bed around there is because it's the ruins of an ancient city. So probably something we might have seen in one of Downar's flashback, but they're trying to find out more forms of themselves. So they have like a bunch of different forms that they can change, kind of at will, but I guess it takes a storm, right? It kind of seems like it takes a storm to trigger the
Yeah.
changes if you
I think
go
they
out in a
need
storm.
the light.
But
You
they're
need
trying
Stormlight.
to
Yeah.
lure like art spren or creativity spren in the art class, and it just is very sad that they all suck. Sounds like me in art class, honestly.
I feel
Yeah.
that.
They're all trying their best, and they're like, "Hey, like, or no, Ishonai's like looking, and she's like, these dudes, like, we are doomed, basically." And the parchment form of them is actually no form at all, so that's like the default form, I would say, like
Wait, I thought they
the
were
no form.
I thought they were slave form.
Isn't that
Yeah.
their form?
Just slur form.
No, slave. Dull form, I think, is the
Oh,
like
dull form is
standard
parchment.
one,
Okay.
which
Yeah,
is different.
dull
No, it's
form.
different than parchment. Parchment are
Oh,
Yeah,
is
slave
it?
form.
parchment are slave form.
Oh, okay.
Dull form is like when you just are neutral to everything, I think. Or like actually less than neutral, but you're not a
Yeah.
slave per se.
So
I
the
don't
dull form is no form at all?
I
Is
think
that what it
so.
was? All right, I gotta change right now.
Because I think slave form is like parchment, like they literally just will listen to whoever,
I thought
basically.
they were the same thing, honestly. To
They
me, I
have a
don't know.
very similar vibe,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
seems like dull form has a little bit more like will.
Somewhat more willpower. They're just
Dull
dumb.
form
Yeah.
sounds more like I'm depressed and just
Mhm.
kind of nothing brings light to my life. Uh, slave form is like you just don't have thoughts,
Mhm.
really.
You don't have will.
Yeah, you don't have
Yeah.
your own will, really.
So we get big lore crumbs at the end of this chapter, which has to do with the murder of Gavilar. So this is quoted directly from the book. She and the others had ordered the murder of the Alethi king on a desperate gambit to stop the listener gods from returning. So they desperately do not want their gods to come back. I'm assuming that's like
Mhm.
the void bringing, hash slinging, slasher
Flasher.
type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that had worked. The Alethi king hadn't been able to put his plan into action, but now her people were slowly being destroyed as a result. So, rip, you can't have everything, I
Yeah.
guess.
But it makes you wonder, what was Gavilar trying to do? Like, what was
Yeah.
his plan? Because we don't know
Yeah.
Yeah.
that either.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
what
And
so bad.
causes their gods to come back? Like, if they, like, call upon them, or if something
yeah,
happens and they return. Interesting. What were you
and
gonna say,
also like,
Andrea?
oh
Well,
no,
I
go
Or
ahead.
either
mean,
one?
going by what Jasna said, that the Voidbringers are coming. Is that their gods?
I'm
Or
assuming
are
at
Yeah.
this
they
point, but we don't
Voidbringers?
super know. It could be either, I think. I don't know.
But their gods had the ability, like before this, controlled their forms.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it means. It's like the gods will come back to
Yeah,
control
and
them
then
and
like
make them voidbringers.
turn them. It seems like it's not something that they're trying to do
Hmm.
consciously.
But now
But
they're
I
in
also
like
like,
a war of attrition forever,
yeah. But
indefinitely.
Yeah.
it's hard to tell. I feel like still at this
Oh.
point, if like are we like what Dalinar's trying to do and what they're trying to do? Like, are they working at cross purposes, or are they working at the same purpose? Like, it's sort of hard to tell who,
I think they
like,
don't
what everybody
know
wants
each
at
other's
this
purpose.
point.
Well, Dalinor's trying to work towards his vision, right, and unite the Alethi. Whether that means they'll help save the Parshendi in the process is like a different story right now, I think. But
Yeah,
she's kind of playing the long game, seeing as how like their actions caused this war, and now they just have to, participate in this war, even though it's like not very helpful to their goals. It seems because they just keep losing people every time.
but
But
she's got some kind of like interest in Dalinar. Like, she wants to speak to
Yeah.
him.
yeah,
So it's
she's a very cultured Parshendi. She's very interested in the
yeah.
outside world. So
So it
yeah,
seems like
I
maybe
would
she
want to
thinks that like
see
he can help their cause,
probably. Yeah, if
which
they
I
can
assume
stop.
this like return of Odium is their god, and so like both
Mhm,
are trying to prevent that, but they don't know
yeah.
that each other is trying to work on the
Ooh,
same goal.
miscommunication subplot. Let's go.
Yeah.
If they would stop getting at each other's throats for 2 seconds, they would find out they're working towards the same cause. Second interlude. How do we want to pronounce this name? YM.
Im.
Im or Yim? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this guy also has radiant powers.
It's an
And
Iranian
this is
shoemaker.
the cobbler, so he's making shoes for this orphan boy, and he's Iriali and believes in
Yeah.
quote unquote the one, but it's not a god, he says. And whatever Iriali are part of the long trail, and this is the fourth land. I have no idea what that means, but I wrote it down. But
That sounds like levels of like
like
enlightenment sort of.
oh okay.
Like there is like high, you get to higher planes as you
Mhm.
go along.
I guess after he makes the shoes, those Makabaki, which race was that again? Where are they from? Does anyone remember?
That's the
That's
same
what
as
Rock
Rock. That's
is.
Rock's
Right?
race. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's probably like a
Orders.
bigger dude. So Makabaki with a pale crescent on his face is there to do some bad stuff. And I wrote, are these the Ghost Bloods? I don't know if this was the same group. It's not the same symbol, I don't think. But this guy also has a shard blade and is going after Yim, and apparently Yim murdered someone like 40 years ago, and he's getting his just desserts apparently.
Mhm.
But that's an interesting and also very sad interlude.
Yeah. But I found out he had the like healing power
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
that
Stormlight.
order of Radiance.
Yeah.
He could heal other people, but now he's dead, so we don't have that one anymore.
Yeah. Damn, he is
But
not
it
going to be
does
fighting in the halls for us.
it does let us know that there are other people out in the world having these bonds with Spren, getting the powers for the
Mhm.
other orders.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sounds like Jasna has had it for years now too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is there going to be like an Avengers Assemble moment and all the people with the powers like go to like some spot?
Y'all gonna see.
I guess.
Is it like Heroes, that TV show?
The
Man, that
battle?
show started so well, and then it just
I know. I was obsessed with Heroes growing up. And then it became real shit.
Rip.
ripped.
Okay, now we have it's this girl again, right? Did we say Risen?
Risen?
How do we pronounce
That's
her
how
name?
I read it.
He
I
has
also say
risen.
Risen. Very timely. So the trader, I guess, apprentice is with her master on the Reshi Isles, and they're islands that move, and it's basically, I
The
guess, a
Avatar
big,
lion turtles.
yeah, it's a big sea turtle kind of
Yeah.
thingy. And is this that Amian guy with the blue white skin, small tattoos? Is this the same Amian we met before? You think? Because I was
I don't-
thinking about that.
I was also wondering if it was,
Not
but
the
I don't
same
think
vibe.
they didn't confirm if it's the
Yeah.
same one or not. But
And they said
I
they can
also,
change their skin, right? So it's like they could just
Yeah.
kind of be whatever.
Vibes wise, I would say it's the same guy.
Yeah, that's what he seems very like kooky and just like
Yeah.
going with
Very
the flow.
nonchalant about
Yeah.
like how he's always was like expecting to be like,
Killed.
punished in some way. He's just like chilling. So seems like guy.
But was this the guy also that was trying to document all Sprin?
Mhm.
Right.
In the last book.
I
We
don't think
saw
think
that big giant ocean
big
spren
water
in
spren,
the
yeah.
Iriali, I
Yeah.
think, land.
I don't think they technically confirmed or denied it. But I also was assuming it was him, but maybe, who knows?
All right, noted. So Risen is doing some trading negotiations with like the king of the Reshi Isles, who is a woman. Interesting.
King
Slay.
is
King is just a title.
Gender neutral title.
Hell yeah. But Risen basically, I don't know. How should we say? Yeah, like does everything, does her most to try to get this deal done, and that includes almost killing herself by talking directly to the sea turtle island thing. And then she goes on a rope and basically falls lots of stories. And then she wakes up and can't feel her legs. I'm like, that's actually really sad.
Batters your legs.
And then turns out that the whole thing was a practice setup just for her to practice negotiating with higher ups. I'm like, damn, like her master was really playing a long chess game. But, they wound up both losing.
Yeah, he's like, sorry, I underestimated your stupidity.
Oh Lord, yeah, but
Didn't think
that's
you would
actually really
actually kill yourself for this.
sad. Yeah, so now she can't feel her legs, and they're not answering if she'll be able to use her legs again. But at the end, she gets gifted this Larkin bug. I don't know what that is.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I noted that, and I was like, maybe this will come back in another interlude.
Yeah, I feel like the vibe is kind of like a scarab,
That's what I was thinking. It sounded
you know,
like
like a
beetle.
kind of mythical beetle, flying beetle situation.
All right, and then back to
Shonai.
Shonai, the last legion. So, oh yeah, they can get new forms by bonding with the Spren. So that's how they discover the new ones. And the way that they tell time is cool. It's by movements of a certain rhythm. So I guess they know exactly how long each rhythm is, or if each rhythm is exactly as long as one day and it loops, then they can know like what time of day it is. That's cool. But Shonai's mother has some kind of like Alzheimer's or something, or mental condition where she doesn't really know like what time period it is or like who people are. So her mom confused her with her sister Benmi, which is sad. And then oh yeah, the Parshendi actually used to be the last legion, and the Knights Radiance gave them freedom in the form of enslavement or oppression. That's what I wrote. They wanted a long war, but quote, Ishonai and the others had underestimated Alethi greed. The gem hearts had
Yeah.
changed everything. Because of course. And this is where you figure out they can only change during a high storm. So yeah. So I guess they didn't plan on being in a war of attrition, but because the Alethi are just greedy for money and power, they're like, oh shit, we are in this for the long run. Because all the Alethi care
Yeah.
about are the gem hearts. But I
Yeah.
wonder. Oh, they said that the gem hearts, the Parshendi need the gem hearts because is it there's Spren in there or they use it for something? Did they mention that?
It has something to do with them eating. Like she says that, like, oh, we got another gem heart, like we will continue to eat or something. Like when
Oh, I
she
wonder
comes
if they
back.
can soul cast like with food or something. They need the gems to like
Yeah.
power or something.
Or if that like affects in some way, or if they actually literally eat it. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of rock plants in this world, so
Yeah. So it's
wouldn't
their
put it past
somehow
them.
it's their sustenance.
All right, and then that was the end of part one interludes.
Oh, but they've
Anyone have?
discovered a new form, a storm form
Yeah, storm form.
that they're going to test out, trying to transform into, so that will maybe let them have access to like
Surge
the
binding
surge
and
binding
things.
type
Yeah.
powers, but Shonai doesn't want to do it because
She thinks it's
that's like
gonna
the
call the
powers of the
gods,
gods.
basically.
Yeah.
Is this where like her and her sister are like fighting, and then
Yeah, because her
or
sister's like, I discovered this form, I should take the form, and blah
yeah,
blah blah.
but then Ashona is like, you don't know what's gonna do to you, and I'm stronger, so I'll do it. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Typical
And she's
siblings.
pissed.
All right. Any other notes for part one? I think that's pretty
Oh
good.
my god.
All right, part two, winds approach. Oh yeah, still on sketchpad. Got lost in the rec too. She can't draw just yet. But I didn't really have any notes for this. I guess beginning part. It was Shalon, then Adeline, and like Cal.
Yeah, there wasn't too much in the first part. They did make a note of why pattern shows shall, because he said she went through something and she didn't break, only cracked. Whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
Mentally, I assume.
Yeah, she definitely seems like she's how do you call it? Like suppressing a memory
Mm,
of like a traumatic event. Which
yeah.
we've seen pop up to her a few times, and she's like actively trying to like not think about it.
I wish I got superpowers from repressing bad memories.
Yeah.
And we would be the most powerful people in the world.
hmm Um, but yeah, in Adeline slash Cal's chapter, Adeline's talking to his sword, and then it's like that's this his ritual he does when he
Mm.
duels. But then we see truly how good Adeline is at dueling,
Yeah,
so it
he
is a good idea.
mollywops
Yeah,
Salinor. Like not
the
even a competition. I was just like, fight back, fight back.
So Dalinar has a pretty good clan, assuming Adeline can keep up with all the duels.
Mhm.
And
It
they're
sounds
trying
like
to
he can.
win all the plates. Yeah.
He's so
So, yeah.
good that everyone didn't know how to react to him winning.
Yeah.
They were shook because he was like, "Oh, you gave her like a fancy person duel with rules," and he breaks out like street fighting techniques.
Yeah. He's like, "Did I break
Yeah.
a rule? Did I break a rule?" And they're like,
Yeah.
no." He's like,
They were
"Okay then."
Like
expecting
he showed up to a
they were
fencing match, threw away
Yeah.
his saber, and just punched the guy in the
Yeah.
face.
yeah, fully expecting this gentleman swordsman fight, and then just starts throwing elbows at his opponent.
But it makes sense though, because Dalinar is trying to remind them that they're literally at war. Like, there's no time
Yeah.
for this like dilly dallying and like, whatever the hell they keep squabbling about. So, I think it's a good plan. I support Dalinar's plan as it is
And
right
hey,
now.
and Rennerman has a full set now.
Yeah,
Oh my god, his training later when we get to it, that was
so
hilarious.
funny.
Oh yeah, I love his training.
He's so
I
adorable.
Honestly,
love
I
a
love him.
grumpy like
He's great.
master who makes you do the weirdest shit, but it's for a reason.
Hmm.
But I love that Rennerman just I know this is skipping ahead a little bit. It's just like, sure, master. Yep.
It's like, whatever you say,
He's like,
I'll do it.
I will do literally anything.
Damn, what a good boy.
Yeah.
He's giving like Zack Fair vibes from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, like a puppy. But he is like kind of he's like very
Yeah,
like
he's very
quiet,
physically
like,
inept right now, so
and
not
also
like
like
Zack
kind
Fair.
of emotionally inept. It seems
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like other people think that he's like weirdly like clinical, but he's like, well, I'll embarrass myself. I don't care. I love that gap. It's great.
Next chapter, A Hand with a Tower. I wrote interesting choice of chapter title. I have no idea what it's referring to. I don't know if anyone else had any ideas about that.
It's
Nope.
it's like a gambling hand. Like they make a reference to it in the chapter.
Okay.
But like I have no idea what it means. Like it's used as an idiom.
I mean, that's not a normal idiom though, right? I'm assuming Brandon Sanderson came
No.
up with that. Okay, so I don't know. I was just like, ooh, interesting. I like the chapter titles.
Oh, here I found it. It says it's like Bluth and Tvlakov talking about the group of like bandits that he spots, and Tvlakov says, "You'd bet my chols on a hand with the tower, Bluth. But brightness for all his terrible gambling sense, I believe the fool is right." So it's like some kind of bad gambling hand.
Okay, interesting. Wonder what kind of cards they play.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they must have glyphs on them because they can't read.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
They
Yay to
can't
read.
read.
and
Yeah.
we know the tower is a glyph because it's in Dalinar's thing.
Mm-hmm. Nice. They have
Anyway,
glyph
they're
cards.
being
I'm sure
chased.
someone should. I'm sure someone has made this, so they should make it like an official Stormlight archive game, along with the other thing. It's like the card game within the game, like Queen's Blood, all that
Queen's
shit.
Blood.
This is the in-universe card game.
Mhm.
Or like, what's that game that Star Wars has too? It's like chess, but not chess.
I know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
Hollow chess, but and then there's like something else. Card game.
I mean, they also have a card game.
Yeah, it's the card game one. I forget what that one's called.
Pazak?
Maybe? I don't know.
Balatro?
Balatro? You mean Balatro?
Balatro in every fictional universe. In
I'm sorry,
canon.
I'm dating myself. Pazak is from the Old Republic.
Dang, you know the old Republic lore.
Sorry guys. Let me see if this shows up in like the yep, it's just Old Republic stuff. Rip.
I
Sorry
feel like
guys.
I would know the name if someone said it, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. But you know what I'm talking about. But in this chapter, Shalon subconsciously heals herself with the Stormlight while the caravan rests. So, her feet are totally effed up from like not having shoes for like days. But she successfully persuades the merchant that he's going to be paid once they reach the Shattered Plane. So, like, good on her. Her persuasion skill check was like up there.
She got
It's
a
a better
nat
deal
20.
than Paladin got.
Left
Yeah.
11 on persuasion.
Yeah, nat 20.
Yeah.
Pattern can perfectly replicate other voices via his vibrations, so he eavesdrops on the men and then repeats the convert to Shallan. That's very helpful of him.
Yeah.
But back to Kaladin. Again, I wrote, I hope Amaran gets his just desserts eventually. Like, he needs to go away. Oh yeah, the end of chapter drawing. There's a note from someone called Naz that said they fetched this from the bottom on the Rasharan Ocean. So I wrote, so Shallan's stuff isn't completely lost at least.
Yeah.
But we don't know who that
But I
guy
wonder,
is,
like,
or
yeah, how far in the future that is.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. But, oh yeah, rip to that copy of Words of Radiance though, so I guess they lost the book. An
Yeah.
illumination in terms of lies and truth. So I wrote that note, and I don't remember the context exactly, but I think Pattern was giving her bits and pieces of more Spren lore. And
Yeah.
it turns out that the knights killed their Spren at the end for whatever reason, and I'm assuming that's the ancient betrayal.
Mm.
But we have not confirmed that yet.
Yeah. Or like why?
Yeah.
Why did they do that?
Yeah. Or like what does that do even? Like, does that mean it ends their powers, or I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh yeah, the chapter forward now is going through the listener songs of listing. And oh, this one talks about scholar form. It's the 69th stanza. But it sounds like there's a lot of forms that they don't know about currently if they're on 69. So like they only have what, 5? I think, right? Because they have that group of 5 that convenes.
Yeah, the council.
Plus the new one that they found and are trying
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
experiment with. So
Oh yeah, also in this chapter, that's where the book club graphic like text comes from. So would anyone like to look that up?
oh yeah.
It's just
What?
funny. So we're on
What's
chapter
that?
18 now.
I like tried to find it, but it didn't
Hopefully I counted right. It does
make
not
sense to
include the
me.
pre-word, by the way.
Okay.
It's just a
But also
joke.
like,
It's not anything serious.
oh, second. Okay, I didn't read it right. What? Goopy?
Yes. I couldn't think of a good
Wait, what is it?
The word is just
Goopy?
goopy.
Goofy.
No, goopy. Goopy.
Goopy. Oh.
So
What
when
is
I read
goopy?
that, I was like, Brando Sando using the word goofy was not something I had on my
Yeah, in
bingo
the
card.
context, it's funny.
But they're
It's
talking
about
about
like
the
Lopin's food.
chaota that Lopin is eating, and he calls it goopy.
Yeah, it seems like an anachronistic word for this like setting.
Yeah. So I couldn't think of anything to put on the text. So I was just like, this is funny, and I noted it, but Brando Sando uses the word goopy.
This is the chapter that we're Cat was talking with the sword master. Very grizzled,
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not like that old, but very like, rough
Unkept.
kind of guy who's
Yeah.
technically an ardent, but is like
They let
doesn't
him.
shave his
He's so
head. And,
good. They let him keep his hair.
yeah.
But yeah, Renarin just throwing himself off the roof to practice. I'm like, damn. And then he's like, do it again. Okay.
But head
Goes
head
back.
first.
Yeah, I'm head first. He's like, sure. I will do anything you tell me.
I mean, he really needs to up his game, I guess, because he sees how serious the I guess the conflict is getting in the war camps, and just the fact that he is like, I guess, the weakest link in the chain right now in Dalinar's family. So
Yeah.
Oh yes. Here we also find out that it sounds like Kaladin can only use his powers to protect, because in that other duel between Adolin and the Master, what's the Master's name again? I don't.
Zahil.
Yeah, it's the heel. His like Stormlighty powers kind of like suck back into him, and he's like, "What?" And then he lost that like informal duel. So if he uses it in anger or vengeance to kill, he can't use it. That's what I. So. It
But
makes sense though,
also,
because that was part of his like pact, is he would only use it to protect others.
his oath.
Yeah.
But also he's just like, yeah, I'll just fight. I'll fight a full shard bearer with my wooden spear.
But also, even if he
He
was
just
using
really
his
believes
power,
that he can do that. It's great.
even if he was using his full Stormlight power, though, like, wouldn't that like signal to other people like this guy definitely has something special going on with him if he's handling a whole shard bearer
Mhm.
with just his bare hands, as far as anyone
And
else can
also,
tell?
like, he would glow, so they would physically be
Yeah.
able to see
He's
that.
too shimmery.
Yeah. This is the
This is
skin
the
of a
skin of a
shard
killer.
bearer.
That's exactly
This is
what I was
the
thinking.
yeah.
skin of a knight's radiant, Bella.
Is that why they call? Is that why they're called Knights Radiant?
Radiant.
Because they
Probably 'cause they
radiate
glow.
light.
Yeah.
They glow in all the
I would
time.
assume so.
Yeah.
Ay, ay,
But
ay.
I also would like to say in this chapter and some of the previous, I feel like Cal and Adeline have a real great setup for like a rivals to lovers plot. I was like, oh yeah, this is hot. It's not gonna go that way, but I am poised and ready at my keyboard to write that fanfiction.
This is definitely fan fiction, like the beginnings of a fan fiction for sure.
Absolutely.
Two peas in an angry pod, those two.
If Brandon
Mhm.
Sanderson were not a he's Mormon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he were not Mormon, I would yeah. Yeah. But unfortunately
Exactly.
he is. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very hetero book.
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Except for maybe Jasna. I was like,
Maybe.
wow. But then, she went away and I was like, they always kill the gays.
Jasna
Honestly,
has this
maybe.
kind of like yeah, maybe because like Jasna, I think she could understand why Shalon was so happy to be betrothed to a
Yeah.
man.
Very anti-man.
And I'm like, oh girl, I totally am with you. I understand. I also don't understand Shalon's happiness either.
She's only known sheltered, like aristocratic, like life.
Yeah.
But
So she's like, "Oh, this is great."
in an earlier chapter, Adeline was also like, you know what? Maybe an arranged marriage ain't too bad. I don't got luck in this
Dude
world.
can't keep anything down,
Yeah.
though. Oh my god.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like,
He gave
Adeline,
up.
at my age of 29, I kind of feel that. I
But
understand that.
didn't they say he basically dated all of the women of the
Yeah,
rank of his
yeah,
rank in
he's
the war camp?
literally
Yeah.
So he had literally out of
and
options.
ruined every single relationship he's had with every woman in the war camp.
That's
Yeah.
tough, dude.
He was like, maybe my judgment isn't the best.
The thing is, like, do we ever see why he ruins them? Like, I know he has like a reputation, but I'm trying to remember. Like, is it because he's brash? He's like
I think he like one time he
empty-headed.
like showed up late. I think he probably stood up some
I think
girls
it's
and just
probably a
like
bunch of different reasons.
yeah.
Low key, I think he was also dating two girls at the same time at some
Oh
point. Like,
yeah.
he's not a good guy when it comes to
There
that.
Yeah.
is this one, the last one with Danlin, he does like make a point though of saying like, how could I like stay with her after like what she said to her friends? Like it was
So people are like
about
gossiping about
something.
him.
Because remember
Probably.
when they were all no, but remember when they were all like him and his friends were
Drinking wine.
talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
and they
felt
had like
out of
bad
it.
opinions about something that I don't remember.
I think
I thought
because
it was
of
about his
Dalinar's
dad.
dad, right? Because they keep him really
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
to the code and all that stuff. So Adeline's not allowed to like wear stuff or like do stuff.
Yeah, can't drink too
Yeah.
much. Can't wear their fancy clothing.
Yeah. I think they were dissing his dad.
Yeah.
Aw,
Yeah.
poor dude.
Spoil.
Hopefully he
And I
gets
don't want to
a
be
good
End
ending.
him.
And even if Adeline does somewhat agree, he's like, you can't talk about my dad like that. That's fucked.
exactly. He's like, I can talk
Only
about
I
my
can talk
dad
about
like
my
that,
dad
but you
like that.
can't.
Which is
In
valid. That
fact,
is valid. I can talk shit. You can't talk
yeah, you
shit.
can't talk. That's how I feel with my siblings. I can talk shit, but you better keep your mouth shut, or I'm gonna
Yep.
shut it for you. Uh,
Real
but
sibling behavior.
Mhm.
All right, we're close because I gotta end soon. But
Okay.
back to Shalon's flashback. So
Flashback, yeah.
now I'm thinking maybe Shalon's dad killed the mom and the mom's lover question mark
I think
or who
Shalin did it, and the dad just took
made her.
he
Yeah.
took the blame.
Oh,
Took the
took the
blame.
blame. Oh, so I wonder
Yeah.
what caused Shalon to do it because it definitely didn't seem like she was doing it
She
on
might
purpose.
in my head, I'm thinking maybe she had powers even all the way back then, and that
That's what
was
it sounded like.
accidentally killed her mom.
Yeah. Well, it seems like maybe that was the first time and only time that she manifested the shard blade.
Yeah.
And like,
but we also
maybe
learned
it was on
Hellerin
accident.
has a shard blade too.
Yeah, that was interesting. So he's a
Yeah.
part of some group that like the dad was like questioning about. And
Yeah.
Shalon's like nonverbal after experiencing some serious psychological trauma. But then her dad also just seems totally abusive. He just starts like throwing chairs once like her oldest brother
Yeah.
leaves. So definitely
Yeah.
sounds like a very bad household, unfortunately.
Yeah, she didn't get saved like with the death of the mom. They sounds like the dad's just as bad.
Hmm. But
Yeah.
I wonder what that whole event was. Like, I'm thinking right now maybe she manifested her shard blade by accident and then also killed those people by accident. But then I feel like her dad is also like manipulating her to use her powers for like bad stuff. So we'll see what
Maybe.
happens.
I don't know. But I assume that that's why he like locks her up basically for like the rest of her
Oh, so she doesn't accidentally
youth.
like kill people.
Yeah, or like to keep that a secret, maybe that
Yes, yeah.
power for their family.
But it sounds like her dad like knows what this power is somewhat, especially if he was part of that like weird group,
The
the
Ghost
Ghost
Bloods.
Bloods.
Yeah.
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 But then I'm also
Which
confused about what.
fire name though, by the
Yeah.
way. Ghost Bloods is
Another
a
good
cool
band
ass
name.
name.
Yeah.
But yeah, Helaron's group, they seem like some sort of like vigilantes that are like also in command of Shard Blades and are doing something. I don't know what their goal is yet though.
Yeah, that also seems sus. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
about
another
this.
sus group, but we'll see. We'll see.
A lot of sussy
Next.
bakas out here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Shalon does also. She's like passing all of her persuasion checks right now. Like she takes command during this bandit fight, and then also Gaz was along with
Gaz
a
is
group of
there
deserters.
too.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
interesting. So a bunch of deserters they run into, and the deserters were about to like also raid the caravans.
Oh.
And Shalon's like, "Oh my god, I'm so thankful you're here. Like you have to help us fight off this group of bandits." And they're like, I guess."
Wow.
But
I
then they
absolutely
actually
did not clock that. I was just like, another
Yeah.
guy with an eye patch.
no, they said his name once.
They said his name
like
too. Yeah.
I
one
did
name
not
drop.
remember that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
and
me
I was
with
like,
the
yeah, when they
caravan
said Gaz, I
guy.
was like, wait, Gaz is here? I was wondering where he went.
Yeah, because they mentioned he wasn't there anymore, so he
Yeah.
definitely just ran off. Well, makes
Because
sense. He seems like a
I thought
coward.
he just got like transferred out to like a different thing, but I guess running away makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
He
then
was gonna be killed.
they turn out successful, even though there's losses on both sides. The other caravan and
Bluth, not
what?
Bluth.
Yeah, not Bluth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and yeah, Bluth kept the drawing that Shalon made of him, which
Yeah,
is
when
all
she
very
opened the
gentlemanly.
drawing and
God.
saw that like he had the drawing, I low-key got emotional. I don't know why,
Redemption
but
in the end.
like Bluth saw that he could be more and he tried his best, but ugh.
But
Not
you know
Bluth.
what?
But you should
May
never
he
try to
rest
be
in
better,
peace.
guys.
Moral of
Always
the
be as bad as
story.
you are.
No, know your place and you won't die.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Keep to yourself. Keep doing what you're doing, because that's what got you this far.
But she's still on her way to the Shattered Plains, right? So technically this is just
Yeah.
like Kaladin's thing. It's 20 chapters and she has not made it to the Shattered Plains yet.
She's even traveling with the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's so
But
funny.
she got more stuff going on than Cal did.
She does. Yeah,
That
she's
is
more
true,
she
that
has
is
more
true.
freedom too. She's not just
She
like
learned
locked
how
up.
to use her powers.
And she
Yeah,
has
you're right.
a companion who she somewhat knows now, because I know Kaladin had Syl for a bit. And now like Shalon has Pattern, but she also has more knowledge about like what the like workings of the world sort of are. Not a lot, but she kind of knows what Shadesmar is and all that stuff. But all right, last chapter of this reading section. I actually didn't have Monday notes, but the chapter forward did talk about meditation form, which I guess the Parshendi don't know about yet. But it says
Yeah.
when used by the gods, it became instead a form of lies and desolation. So I was like, what is this alluding to?
Yeah. But it's interesting that it's like their peaceful form is the one
Yeah.
that is used for this purpose.
But it
But,
says
like,
when
yeah,
used by the
how does it
gods,
transfer
it
that way?
becomes something else. So maybe it's like when the gods put them in meditation form, it does something bad. That's what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah. Maybe
And
like some form of like control or something because they're
I guess so,
meditating, like the
yeah,
gods can
maybe
physically possess them.
speak through them. That yeah, maybe it's like, when like you're in like a Buddhist trance and you're just like, one
You
with
know,
whatever the
guys,
higher
when you're
power.
in a Buddhist trance.
Yeah, sometimes you just go into a Buddhist trance.
You know, the way that we all are sometimes in a Buddhist trance.
But I feel like maybe they get put into that mode, and then when they're like connected through the gods that way, the gods like do their evil deeds like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm.
And did anyone else have notes about what else happened in this chapter? Because I didn't have anything else.
This is when Bluth she finds Bluth with the
Oh,
with the
okay.
drawing. Very sad.
Oh, and then it's called ashes because they're like burning all the bodies. I'm assuming, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And then
Then she like takes over Tvlakov's like situation. She's like, and you're gonna give me one of those wagons, and also I get all of your slaves that are now my servants.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go with this caravan, and you can fuck off.
Oh yeah. So do they do part ways then, right?
Yeah, I think Tvlakov is going back where he was
To wherever
planning
he
to
was
go
going, or and the caravan's going to Shattered
with his
Plains now?
Parshman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the journey continues to the Shattered Plains once again.
Hopefully we'll get there this time.
Yay! Yeah. Hopefully we'll get there before. Well, this is still part 2, right? Hopefully we get there maybe by the end of
By
this
the
part.
end, I would hope so
Yeah.
too.
I don't know how long this part is, but all right. So we'll talk about dates in the next section later. Yeah. Anyone else have closing thoughts?
Well, it was a good introduction to
It was. This was.
and
I definitely like
continuation.
this. Yeah. I like this
Yeah.
opening better.
Starts off way faster paced. You're getting a lot of action right off the bat, which is nice.
And I
Mhm.
just don't think she spent that much time traveling the Shattered Plains because I don't remember being as bored, I want to say.
I forget where was Kaladin coming from though. He was coming from all the way like across, like Alethkar though, right?
Yeah, I think
That's probably why it was a longer journey.
Probably.
I'd have to look at the map again though, because she washed up ashore by like the
Wait.
cold area, which is like south of the Shattered Plains.
because Amaram was fighting skirmishes
He's like super
with
west. I
Super
think.
West, right?
Yeah.
But he like went through several like being owned by several different people before he ended up with
Oh, okay.
Tvlakov. So who knows where he
Oh, that's true.
started from?
Mm-hmm.
But
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Yeah.
Now he's
But like I
captain.
guess Shallan's journey wasn't like with them the whole time. Like we got her on the ship and Jazda and that stuff, so it's not as long-winded, I feel, as Cal's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
sitting in the boxes just staring at the landscape.
And being depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having flashbacks.
Yeah.
But all right, thoughts and prayers for Jasna. Hope they find her in a good condition.
Rip Queen.
And I guess what else are we anticipating for the next part? More Parshendi info, maybe.
More politics.
More politics.
Also,
definitely more politics.
I think Val
budding
finding out about Kaladin's powers.
Yeah.
budding rivalry between
Yeah.
Kaladin and Adolin. And also, we gotta
Mhm.
find out, we have 60 what days to the Everstorm.
Yeah. Time is ticking.
Time is
Yeah.
ticking.
Which makes you wonder, like, how is that happening in this book?
Oh, like will it
like
come
when
in
are
this
we gonna
book?
get or is the rest of this book 62 days? I wonder, like,
that will be
at the
very interesting.
time.
I mean, at the same time, Shallan's journey is
very nice.
I'm assuming happening concurrently with Kaladin and Dalinar's action. So, like, they, assuming she makes it to the Shattered Plains, they'll kind of be in the same vicinity.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Maybe she doesn't make it to the Shattered Plains.
I freaking hope she
Alright.
does, because
Yeah,
they
me
need
too.
her information. We
Yeah.
gotta get the gang together.
And
so
I
we can
wonder if
share
her marriage
info.
with Adolin will actually go through. Like, I want to know what that's like.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll both be like, "Nah, we got better shit going on. Like, we can't be getting married for like no reason, basically." But all right, so let's figure out how much to read for the next time and the next date, and I'll post that. Oh yeah, I bought that new game Blueprints on Steam, so I'll probably be streaming that at least once this week, and still along with Repo. But apparently, it's a Game of the Year material. People are giving it very high praise already. So I missed the
Also,
demo.
Baldur's Gate is coming out of the patch 8 on
Oh, that's big.
Tuesday
Okay,
with
big
crossplay.
news.
Oh yeah, there's another Steam sale, so
maybe
I'll get it this time.
maybe we'll play Baldur's Gate together. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm always
Getting the gang
down.
back together.
I still have never played Baldur's Gate.
I
Wait,
still have
what?
not finished
Whoa.
one run.
I have I have like 2 hours or an hour and a half of playtime that was spent in character creation, and then I got so tired after doing it, I never actually played.
Dude.
Okay, but we're all making our characters beforehand, so we can
Yes,
just
we
like
have to.
Yeah. Because I need
Wait,
time.
how does this work though? Like, who says one person has to host? I guess we'll figure it out off stream. But
figure it out. Yeah.
yeah, all right. Let me end the stream. We'll see you guys next time for the next book club, and I guess I'll see you tomorrow for more game stream. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Peace.